My first price target for Injective's native token called INJ in 2025 is INJ at the price of $300. And of course, not financial advice nor a guarantee, but here's the thing. I think a major reason why that could happen, I think it's going to come down to the fact that Injective is amazing. As a matter of fact, they claim to be the fastest layer 1 blockchain shaping the future of finance. Injective, after all, is built for finance. So yeah, that's very fantastic if you ask me. Now, you have to take into consideration how, according to Mordor Intelligence, and no, I'm not talking about some random Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter nonsense, because they do predict that the global trade and finance market is expected to reach $5 trillion by 2028. That's just 4 years away at this point. So clearly, the global trade and finance market, it has a lot of potential, and Injective, it's clearly focused on the right sector, in my opinion. Every blockchain, it needs a unique selling point, right? Some blockchains out there, they're heavily focused on, let's say, for instance, right, gaming. Some others may be heavily focused on, NFTs, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to Injective, focus on finance, I think that right there is very amazing, if you ask me. And let's not forget, Injective, it has some real deal backers. For instance, one of the backers of Injective is Mark Cuban, which of course, as we all know, he was known for, the Mavs, the Dallas Mavericks. He sold a lot of his share in the Mavericks. But yeah, besides that point, we also know him from Shark Tank, obviously, and broadcast.com. So yeah, the fact that he's backing Injective, I think that right there is fantastic. Another backer of Injective is Pantera. And of course, this is not Pantera, the band, from ages ago. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real deal here, Pantera Capital. Also, on top of that, we take a look at how one of the backers of Injective is Binance. Now, as we all know, Binance, very massive cryptocurrency exchange. So yeah, Injective, it's not only focused on the right sector, but it has amazing backers as well. When you have backers this fantastic, really, the sky's the limit, in my opinion. And also, let's not forget, Injective has DeFi solutions as well. And of course, DeFi stands for decentralized finance. Now, DeFi may be down, when it comes to the hype when compared to 2021, but in my opinion, better days are ahead, because according to Grandview Research, the DeFi market is expected to be worth over $230 billion by 2030. So yeah, when it comes to the DeFi market, it's far from over, and Injective being focused on DeFi, that's fantastic if you ask me. And let's not forget, right, Injective, they claim to have pioneering interoperability. And they say how all decentralized applications within Injective's ecosystem can natively access sovereign layer 1 chains, such as, for instance, Ethereum, Cosmos, and Solana for frictionless interoperable communication. Now, lacking interoperability as of right now, it's a major issue, because what this basically means is that because there's a lot of blockchains out there, they're independent of one another for the most part, right? And as a result of that, they are not able to freely send data and value to each other, which of course means that a lot of them do lack interoperability. So the fact that Injective is even focused on this, right? I think that's amazing if you ask me. Injective is one of a kind, in my opinion. So when it comes to Injective's native token called INJ, at the price of $300, I really don't see why that's all that crazy. Injective is very special, in my opinion. And of course, this is during the peak of the bull run. Now, I do want to take a look at my second price target for INJ, and that is, of course, INJ at the price of $400, which may sound crazy to some people, but I don't see why not. Keep in mind, if INJ were to go to that price, considering its current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $37.36 billion. Let's say for simplicity's sake, we say it's $37.5 billion, right? This isn't even all that insane. We've seen SHIB go to around 40 billion in market cap. At one point, we've seen Doge at one point as well go to around 88 billion in market cap. So this isn't really all that insane, especially again, when I consider how Injective, it's built for finance, right? Quite essentially focus on the finance market. And again, just like I mentioned earlier on the video, the global trade and finance market does have a lot of potential. They have DeFi solutions, and the aspect of being focused on interoperability when it comes to Injective, I think that also is very bullish for its future. So any way I view it, I don't think it's all that crazy. The market cap wouldn't be all that unrealistic, right? Around $37.5 billion in market cap. And when I consider just how amazing Injective is, really, ING at the price of $400, really doesn't seem all that insane during the peak of this bull run. Now, my most bullish case price target scenario for INJ is $500. And I'm sticking by this because I do believe that if all the cards are right, so to speak, right, it could very well reach it during the peak of this bull run, because we have to take into consideration how this bull run, right, it could look very different than what we've seen in the past. Because, yeah, sure, in 2021, bull run was amazing. Of course, everyone knows that. But at that time, only around 300 million crypto owners during the peak of that bull run. Now we have nearly 600 million crypto owners. Also on top of that, back then, nowhere near this many institutional investors, nowhere near this many enterprise adopters, right? So this bull run, it could very well have the recipe for success, in my opinion. So when I consider just how crazy this bull run could be, why is $500 all that unrealistic? I don't think so. Now, as to how soon this will happen, right? Historically speaking, altcoins, they do typically reach their peak anywhere between 6 to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, the Bitcoin halving event did happen last month, so 6 to 18 months, that would be best case scenario, October of this year. Worst case would, of course, be October of 2025. Now, I'm not going to take a look at the most extreme examples. Let's say 12 months, that would still be potentially April of 2025 for altcoins to reach their peak. Now, not every single altcoin is going to peak at the same time, but there's a time frame there, right? And I'm not going to use the most extreme or the, best case example. I'm going to take a middle ground approach, and that, of course, again, is April of 2025. So that's potentially around, 11 months from right now. Not such a long time, in my opinion, because, a lot of people out there, they've been in the crypto space just in general ever since 2021. So would it make sense for them to, let's say, give up right now? Now, of course, not financial advice, but personally, I would think that's kind of weird because we're kind of nearing the finish line. I mean, if people have been through 2021 up until right now, 2025 doesn't seem that long, in my opinion. And of course, how am I staying in the game, right, and not burning myself out? That is through dollar cost averaging, because day trading using leverage, a lot of my friends do that. They get wrecked. So for what, right? I like to keep things simple. Anytime I do earn income, I acquire, I hold, and I just wait for the peak at the bull run. That's it. It doesn't matter what happens to the price that day when I do earn income, because I'm not worried about what happens to the price in the, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Who cares about that? I'm focused on the peak of this bull run, which again could hypothetically happen sometime around next year based on historical data. Now, it could happen sooner, you never know, but again, right, historically speaking, could very well happen next year. So I'm staying patient, and INJ at the price of $500 during a most bullish case scenario, I don't see why not during the peak of this bull run. I think Injective is that amazing. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And also on top of that, make sure to check out this very fantastic video. I think you all would really love it. It's Malik the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.